I recently decided that I'm committing myself to a no-buy year. If you're someone who feels like every month you have no idea where your money's going, or you find yourself constantly decluttering your home over and over again, this might be the video for you. If you haven't heard of no-buy, it's basically a trend where you just decide that you're not gonna buy anything that's not essential for the whole year. I think most people do it for like a month, and then maybe you could do another month, but I am committing for the year, no buy. I'll be sharing in this video my rules for no buy and what things I am absolutely not buying, what things I might buy like low buy, and then what things I will just be replacing throughout the year. So I feel like the most important thing I should get into first is my why. Because when you're starting a big challenge like this, it can be hard to stick with it if you don't have a major reason propelling you forward. So for me, I'm a big dreamer and my husband is not. But lately, my husband has been dreaming with me, and for me, that just motivates me so much more to be frugal and save money when we have dreams that we're like saving toward, instead of just saving money to like stare at the total in a bank account. To have like dreams that we're like hoping to put the money towards someday if we can reach certain numbers, that is just so motivating for me. And that's a major reason behind me wanting to start a no-buy year. So for me, some of my dreams would be to own a lot of land someday. I also, we're dreaming, so I can be a little crazy, but I would love to own an RV and just travel all over the US. And those are just things that we cannot do right now, but I would just love to do someday. And I would love to save money and work toward those things. So because I have that why, when I have moments of like, oh, why am I saving money? Why can't I buy these things? It's because we're working towards something bigger that would benefit our whole family. And they're like big things, like owning a huge plot of land compared to like just getting a coffee at Starbucks one day is much more exciting. With trying to be a minimal home, I know they say that if you feel like you're constantly having to declutter, it's not a decluttering issue, it's like an overconsumption issue and you're bringing too much into the home. So that's another reason that I really just want to be really strict on no buy, because I do feel like I'm decluttering my home often. I feel like I'm constantly getting rid of things, which means I'm probably constantly bringing things in. So for no buy, people typically have lots of different categories. So no buy would be like, I am not buying that at all this year. Low buy would be more like, I'm not gonna buy it much this year. For me, I'm very like black and white. I like there to be like defined boundaries. So I kind of steer clear of the low buy because it's kind of arbitrary. And then there's also like replacement. So for example, if you run out of body wash or something, you can keep buying that body wash. But the idea is that you wouldn't start buying all these new body washes and then accumulate body washes in your bathroom. You would just keep buying the same one over and over. Obviously, overall with the challenge, the goal is just to buy nothing that's not essential. But these rules will hopefully just bring clarity to me throughout the year if I'm having an issue deciding like what's essential and what's not. A couple tips for a no buy that I'll be implementing is, one, to delete any apps off my phone. Like I'll be deleting Amazon off my phone because I know for us and for a lot of people that can be a place that you spend a lot of money. And I know there's been times where maybe we spent like $500 or something like that on Amazon that month, and I can't think of a single thing we bought off Amazon. And it's like, how essential were some of those things if I can't even name them? If there's specific stores or maybe accounts on Instagram that you typically like maybe see their clothing or different things you'd like to buy from them, don't follow them, or just like mute them for the year or something like that. So then you don't have the constant temptation of seeing their things and wanting to buy them. I have already implemented some of these things this year. So another thing I have done is I love like free people in clothing, and if I see one of their ads like scrolling on Facebook or something, I just scroll fast past so I can't even see what the deal is. Recently my friend was like, oh, are you doing this deal with free people? And I was like, nope, I don't even look at the ads anymore. And that's another thing, is like just never even go to the website. Like if you see, a cute little ad for a dress on Free People, just don't even go to the website. Don't look around. It'll just be temptation. And along with that, unsubscribe from emails, unsubscribe from texts from different brands that might text you deals. And my last tip is if you are married, this is a great tool for you, is that you can bounce things off your husband. So sometimes it's hard to define what essentials are, and that's one of the great things about being married, is that I can discuss it with my husband. If I'm like, I need this organization bin to go in my bathroom drawer, I could discuss that with my husband and he'd be like, Priscilla, that's not a necessity. Like, we don't actually need that. What we've done in the past is we just talk to each other about every purchase that's not essential. And we've kind of defined for ourselves what essential is. My friends recently told me that they have a shared note on the Notes app on their phone, and they'll just add things to that as they think they need it, and then they'll discuss it together once they have time. Me and my husband have had weekly meetings on and off since we've been married, but we've started that back up again. And for me, I plan to put anything that I think I need into a shared Notes app, and then at our like weekly meeting, we'll discuss it there. And that's another thing with the weekly meeting, is don't just discuss, you know, the no buying and all of that. Also discuss your vision for your family, discuss the dreams and why you're saving this money, and that will keep propelling you forward. Now for my no buy rules for the year. First, I would say we're already pretty frugal in general. We don't really have any subscriptions. The only one we do have that I can think of is Amazon. And honestly, I'm like considering like if we should just get rid of that too. It can be convenient, but I think maybe there's more cons than pros to it. And then because we're like really health conscious, we also like never eat out anyways. If we do, it's mostly when we're traveling. So that's another one that's not really an issue for us. My first rule for myself for 2026 is no new clothes. I'm not like a shopaholic or anything, but I do occasionally like to get a new dress. That's like my main thing, is I love dresses. In particular, my like biggest weakness is Neuflora. And when I get like the emails about the new launches, that's something that I have had to decide this year, is not to even look at the new launches. Or if I'm on Instagram, just scroll past. Maybe I should mute them in the time being, but that's my first rule, is just no buying new clothes. So like I said earlier, if I see an ad for like a clothing company I like, just scroll past, don't even look at the deal. Never go to the website and peruse. Shopping in person isn't really an issue for me because I never go out. But yeah, so online shopping, no more. Next is home decor. So this kind of goes hand in hand with thrifting. I don't really buy home decor like at Target or online. That's just not my style. My style really is like used home decor. And I did get in the habit for a while, and it was really fun of like going every Saturday to my favorite thrift store with my children. But the issue with that is like, if you're going not having anything in mind, you really don't need anything that you're going to get. So I would find a lot of things like different frames that I hung around our house and things that I love and use, but did I really need any of them? No. And you know, occasionally we would walk away with like maybe a little toy for the kids. And it's all thrifted, but this is kind of more on the clutter side, where it is just adding more stuff to our house that maybe a couple months later I have to declutter. No home decor for me this year. And then also along with that, no thrifting. Obviously, if there is something that like we actually need, then it would be ideal to like go thrift, you know, clothes for the kids or something like that. But in general, the idea of going to a thrift store just to peruse their options is unnecessary and doesn't fit with my goals for 2026. The next category for me is like skincare, makeup, hair. For me, this will be like replacement only, which is kind of nice because since I've been doing Oliveda, using all of their products, I know exactly what I like. So that's already what I've been doing, is just replacing the products I've already bought. But the idea with only replacing is that I'm not trying out like a new moisturizer or a new mascara and then having all these like half used bottles of different skincare or hair care products. Instead, I'm using the whole bottle, getting rid of it, replacing it with a new one. And I know I've definitely fallen into that a lot in the past, of just trying out new skincare, hair products, or makeup, and then having all these like half used ones that in the end wasted money on. So that's my next rule. My fourth rule is Amazon convenience buys. So I know I can occasionally like peruse Amazon and maybe get something that wasn't necessary, Or, you know, maybe you're out and someone mentions something and you're like, oh, that'd be nice to have, and you just quickly order it off Amazon. Obviously, Amazon can be used for things that are essential, like we'll get some food items there, or like toiletry items and stuff like that. But honestly, like thinking through it, I'm wondering if we should just cancel Amazon entirely and just make it a goal to just shop in person more. And I feel like that would limit us from buying things that we don't actually need. So Amazon convenience buys, that's a big one. My next rule is books. So this one is kind of low buy, kind of replacement. For books, I just want to only buy a book if I have finished the previous book that I was reading. Sometimes I just see a book that I really want to read and I'll buy it even though I'm in the middle of like 5 books. And I just want to make it a goal to only buy a new book once I have finished the previous book that I'm reading. So then I don't just have all these books like stacking on my bookshelf that I never actually read. And ultimately I'm not just spending money on things that just sit on my bookshelf. And then last rule, which is kind of similar, I put yarn, but it's kind of just like any hobby things. So right now it's yarn because I'm into knitting. But for that one, my goal would just be to not start any new projects until I've finished the previous project. And maybe I could buy new yarn to finish projects, but I don't want to be having all of these like half-finished projects to where there's just like all these supplies sitting around that I don't actually use and just ultimately wasted money on. Lastly, I think I'm on number 7. For my family, our biggest expense in our budget is definitely groceries, partially because we're a family of 7, but then also partially because we're also like health nuts and we always want to like try different foods, or maybe we'll decide to go carnivore one month and we're spending tons of money on steak, or right now I'm doing an elimination diet and that makes me have to be a lot more picky about what I can eat, so then I'm buying maybe more specialty foods like salmon and like chicken sausages. With groceries, my goal would just to be only buy what I had planned to buy before going into the store, which would take a little bit more planning. I would have to make a list every time, but I do know in the past when I have done that, it's been like extremely effective at keeping us under our budget for groceries. So that would be kind of my rule for groceries. I guess like no buy unless it's on the list. And that's another thing, like me and my husband, he's not as into this as I am, but I have in the past, like at our weekly meeting, discussed with him like what's on the grocery list. Maybe that sounds a little crazy, but it's definitely helpful because there are times where I'm like, this bag of chips is essential. And my husband is like, no, it's not. And that is the end of all of my no-buy rules. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you guys start a no-buy year yourself. If you do, let me know down below what your rules are. It's not too late for me to add some to mine. I would love to hear them. If you guys enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. I post videos every Tuesday and Thursday, and I'll see you in the next one.